Hello, welcome to our health shop tonight. I think some of are kind of live here. We're getting Instagram up and rolling as well. Perfect. How are we doing over there, Chip?
Not quite.
Not
It's
quite.
coming
Well, I'll
along
tell
here.
you what, we're going to get started here with this health shop. If we get the Instagram rolling as well.
Let's go.
Okay, so tonight we're going to be going over the holiday cooking show. Tonight I'm not going to be able to cook anything for you, but we're going to be going over a little things of what we've created in our own recipe book, as well as the things that we're considering as we go through the holidays. So, a couple of things that we really went into to create these recipe books as well as going through the holidays is to really find things that are going to be tasting really, really good for you. What was happening is going to make it much easier. A lot of the recipes that we're doing is we went through them, but we also found a way to make it sure that we can get it done in the correct time. We know we have very busy schedules, kind of hanging out with our families and everything. So we want to make sure you have plenty of time to do that and make these recipes not only taste good, but are super healthy for you. So we always look at a couple of things at the health shops. We always look at the nutritional, we always look at the physical, and we always look at the emotional sides, the healthier. And what we're going to be doing here is we're going to base these type of things with the recipe book or the cooking show that we have going on. So nutritionally is going to be exciting because it's going towards really food wise. And the first thing we have to talk about is limiting the sugar. Now you've seen it all the time, and the holidays are coming around, and sugar is absolutely everywhere. And we look at it as a sense as more as the body and the mind and everything. So when we look at sugar, we're kind of trying to find out how we can make it healthy as well. So sugar is one of those things that can cause inflammation to the body. Some people might they eat too much or something, or they feel so drowsy the day after. Well, that is the body trying to get rid of possibly the sugar that is inside the system. And the sugar in large amounts can cause a lot of inflammation in the body. During the day-to-day basis, we tend to find that we're eating a lot of sugar always, constantly, every single day. But we really want to emphasize this when it comes to the holidays, because there's times that there's a lot of different desserts out there. Not that we don't want you to indulge in them, but just trying to limit the fact of the sugar. Now, the big thing that we're looking at is a combination as well. We're talking about the combinations with like sugar when it comes to proteins. Now, there's science and all this good stuff coming out that state that when you're putting these two proteins and sugars together, you will find a much more indication or things that's happening to limit the sugar. It's finding out that when you put these foods together, it helps or it spikes the insulin levels much more to making sure we can get that sugar levels down. So if we want to, if you can, this is all recommendations and tips for you, but if we want to kind of take these away, maybe eat some meats and such at the beginning, and then have a little of a break, talk with some relatives, have some fun, and then maybe do a dessert later. That will help out much more when it comes to the insulin spikes or the effects that very well the sugar could have on the body. Now, the last one we're thinking about when we're talking about this combination thing, and it's great that desserts are usually after a meal, but we want to make sure we have the carbs last. Another great point to making sure that we can kind of keep this combination rule, but we're also wanting to do is we go into these parties, we like to have some fun, we're going there and we're absolutely hungry and starving, we want so much more food. So let's try to play this to our advantage is if we can fill up on a lot of the good stuff, the vegetables and meats and everything, and then we can have the carbs last. So that will help out, especially during the combination rules, but really separating that is going to make much optimal for the digestion for a lot of this food. And we can assimilate a lot more nutrients. That means a lot more nutrients is coming in contact to the body itself. So that's a little bit for the nutritional aspect. Now, the physical aspect is really quite simple. When we're talking about relax, Dr. Chip has talked about it a couple of times. We want to get ourselves in this parasympathetic case or situation so we can digest our food much more. We tend to find ourselves in a very highly stressful situations, trying to impress or anything towards a relative, or making sure we can do the best things that we can for everyone. But sometimes it gets very stressful during the times of holidays. So if we can relax and then really kind of maybe after or anything, to maybe take a walk or something relaxing to get ourselves in that parasympathetic, because if we're going to make sure we eat really good nutrition, we want to be able to assimilate it and get ourselves in this parasympathetic case, because if we're going to sympathetic, we're going to find ourselves not digesting as much food, the assimilation of the food may not be as high, so we just want to make sure physically we can be in a very relaxed state during it. Now, emotionally, one of the big things that I look at here at Natural Health is being present. Being present with your food. If you're going to eat the food, the best thing to do it mentally, because the mind is very powerful when it comes to the actual digestion, is being present with the food. If we're eating the food and we're thinking what we're about to say, or what's going to happen next week, or what are we going to do when we get home, we find ourselves the same exact case with digestion. We're getting ourselves off the fact of the food which is in front of us, and we're thinking about other things, and the mind comes in and it won't assimilate correctly. So if we get our mind thinking about the food, then we can say, oh, okay, I'm eating the food. I'm enjoying this present moment with all of my loved ones. So another thing too is the science is unbelievable when it comes to appreciation. On a couple of the other health talks that I've been talking about, appreciation does so well to the heart itself. Appreciation, love, care, very, very high vibrational emotions that can really put, the cherry on top when we're eating a lot of these foods to help assimilate, get yourself in the present moment, be happy and joyful, not stressed out as much. When you're appreciated all the time, not just the food in front of you, the people you're around, the present moment within itself, that is going to help out digest the food much better. It's going to put you in a much more relaxed state, and it's going to get you emotionally taken care of for this holiday season. And the last one I have talked about too is, we're going to indulge in a little bit, including myself. I might find some good desserts that might have a little sugar into them, but I'll tell you what, from my personal experience, guilt does a lot to a person's health. And if we can limit the guilt in a sense, if I'm going to eat this meal, if I'm going to have this piece of pie, let's just enjoy it. Let's just love every little bit of it. Let's be present and just be thankful that we have this piece of pie in front of us. Some people that in poor cities may not even have a Thanksgiving or may not even have a Christmas. So we're looking at it as we can just enjoy the meal and limit the guilt, because the guilt is going to throw the whole system off energetically in a sense. So if we have ourselves, we eat it, we enjoy it, and then just forget about it in a sense. And don't allow the guilt to come back up, because if we have that guilt coming back up, we're not going to enjoy the Thanksgiving or the Christmas, dinners, or I guess Thanksgiving leftovers, but as much. So that is a very important part that I like to look at emotionally. It tends to come into a lot of people's mind, especially not just during the meal of Christmas, but the day after or the week after. They said, oh, I shouldn't have done this, or I should have did this, or why did I do this? Well, that's going to be a whole part of the process mentally to get that digestion or the nutrition or anything going down those lines. So that's what we got going on when we're talking about the nutritional, physical, and the emotional side to the recipes that we have going on. Now, we've got 2 different books for you. We've made a Thanksgiving recipe book. I think it's got about 20 recipes in it, but we've just made one. We just got it live for you. It's going to be more for the holiday season, but we have over 40 different recipes for you to try out so we can get healthier. Healthier recipes that are just super easy to make and they're fun. I've got a couple in here that I like to kind of point out. This is the book that we have. We have them at Natural Health, but you can also get them online on our website at naturalhealthquincy.com. And you go to the recipe tab, I believe it's the farthest one, and then kind of click down there. You can get the Thanksgiving one as well as the Christmas one. But what I just want to kind of emphasize here is, we're going to find ourselves with some recipes that might be desserts or anything down those lines, but a cool one that I love is chocolate fudge. So chocolate fudge, you're going to look at this ingredients here. It has coconut oil, cocoa powder, and a big thing that we look at is the alternatives of sugar. Alternatives of sugar we like to use that I grew up on was stevia. Stevia is a very good natural alternative, as well as honey and maple syrup. So this chocolate fudge that we have here is made with honey and maple syrup. It's got some vanilla in there as well as coconut milk. There is barely any sugar in there, and you can have a couple more. I mean, if you really want to, just kind of save the guilt away. But there's so many great ones like almond coconut fudge. Separate and put some like almond butter in there. I found a really good one here about eggnog. We've got some great ones in here that actually goes into more of the coconut macaroons, which is a really good one. We're having a lot of shredded coconut in there. Stevia is a big one. I don't know if you've had stevia before, but I really highly recommend giving it just a try. They got some good ones at the local shops or local grocery stores. Usually that'd be more of the health food section. But the stevia, it's very potent, very powerful, but it usually gives it the kick. And a lot of people, when they look at desserts or a lot of these recipes, that's really what they want. They want that sugar. They want that sweet taste. And stevia does it just well without all that sugar in it. So if we can keep that sugar, limit the sugar to a limit, and then, we're going to get into a couple of things, but there's so many great things in here. Like I said, we have over 40 different recipes, not just when it comes to desserts, but we're looking at muffins and salads, and that fun little seed mix that everyone has around, some holiday bread. We're looking at more of not wheat flour, but almond flour is a much better an alternative in a sense when it comes to limiting sugar. So we've got these for you. These are free for you to download. Like I said, they are at naturalhealthquincy.com on our page. And that is all I have for you tonight. I really appreciate you joining me and looking at these. Please download those recipes. They're there for you. We do have printouts in the office. Not the Thanksgiving ones anymore. We actually ran out. We printed quite a bit of them, and people loved them. And we do have a bunch for the holiday recipes, for our Christmas recipes. So if you are a patient, if you know where we're at, we are located at 20th and Jefferson in Quincy, Illinois, 62301. Give us a call, schedule an appointment. We've got great recipes as well as kind of get things ready to go for nutritionally and with nutrition response testing. What the great thing about these recipes and even the ingredients inside here, everyone's different. Everyone has their own little tendencies that might, some of these recipes may not work good for some and may work for others. So you can come in, schedule an appointment, get muscle tested to see what ingredients work good for you and what ingredients don't work good for you. So we can find ourselves maybe having a little bit more desserts and feeling good about it, just because a lot of these, if not all of them, are very healthy for us. So social media wise, we are on Instagram and Facebook at Natural Health Quincy IL. We are also on YouTube and Brighteon, where all of these health shots are going to take place. Let us know. Thank you so much for joining us. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, Happy Thanksgiving, whatever works for you guys. We love all your support and looking at these videos. So thank you so much, and have a great night. Take care.